my foray into video games was something that I definitely always dreamed about, but just never thought that it would happen for me. When I was just getting out of college, I had big plans to go to law school, to have a respectable career as a lawyer, which is something my mother really wanted for me.
But the history major.
I was a history major because well, the reason why I was you knock it, but the reason why I was a history major is because if you want to go to law school, it's important for you to have like good research and writing skills. So there was a method to my madness there, okay? Yeah, if you're an Asian, you know you have 3 career choices. Let me just name them for you. And all Asian people can definitely...
I'll be keeping my mouth shut here.
Can definitely relate. You have 3 options. It is doctor, lawyer, engineer. Those are it. That's it. I would say my mom was actually pretty open. She did not tiger mom me too much. And when I broke the sad news to her that like, so I'm not going to go to law school and instead I'm going to go work in video games, she didn't like freak out too much.
Okay.
But yeah, I got out of college. I got a job at a law firm. I was doing this at this job and I absolutely hated it. It was awful. And I just like had this moment where I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I also don't want to go to school and spend more money on school doing something that I don't want it, that doesn't make me happy at all. So I had like basically like a existential crisis where I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I have no other plans.
I have seen a lot of people who use grad school as kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to use this to like burn some time.
But the burning of the time is burning the money.
And a lot of money too.
I could not afford to do that.
But it's like, while I figure out what I want to do, I'm going to do this thing and I'll come out on the other side with this, degree or these qualifications.
Some sort of
and hopefully by then I'll know what I want to do. But it's a big commitment.
It's a really big commitment for your time, for your money, like that's tough to do. So I think for me, I made the right decision by basically like hitting the brakes like right before I would have done that. And at that time, obviously I was a huge video game fan already. I was following, all of the big video game news sites, and I obviously loved Nintendo. I have been playing Nintendo since I was a kid, and so it's just a place that I was really, it would be amazing to get a job there at the time. And stumbled upon this random Kotaku article one day that was like, rumor, Nintendo might be moving their sales and marketing office to California. And I remember
reading that scuttlebutt at a young age.
That's right. I'm like reading the rumor mill. I'm like adding to the
raking that muck up. What do we got today?
The muck raking rumor mill. Hey, it paid off for me. So I was like, oh my gosh, how cool would it be if they're moving to California, like to the Bay? It said the Bay Area actually. I remember, and I was like, wow, that would be so cool to work there. I wonder if there are job openings.
Yeah. Have you ever called it the Yay Area? Please say no, thank you. All right.
If you're from the Bay Area.
This is a clarification for the people out there, but let's keep going, please.
Don't call it the Yay Area.
Or don't call it Frisco. Please don't call it that. Anyhow, please continue.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's terrible. Don't do that. So I randomly was searching like the website, like the jobs listing site, and found that there were job openings for their, like they were calling it like the Redwood City office or whatever. So I ended up applying to literally every single job that I thought I'd be remotely qualified for. This is like, again, 14 years ago.
Is that a good move? Just mass apply for everything?
I think in this instance it was, because they were massively hiring.
And they had so many roles to fill. They had
so many open positions. And also, what I learned when I went through the interview process was they didn't really know how to place everybody, especially in the entry-level positions. So I basically applied for an administrative assistant. So it was like the lowest
But it was that role in different departments?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I ended up, I think it was smart that I don't think this works every time, so don't like do this every single time. I'm just telling you what I did at a young age where I had no idea what to do. But I was asked to come interview for multiple departments because, again, they were trying to fill these departments as fast as possible. And I remember being in the interview process, and it was like in this huge like hotel ballroom. It was like blitz. It was like speed dating, but interviews.
Not a traditional interview process.
Not a traditional interview process at all. Yeah. So I remember sitting there with all of the other people that applied for an admin role. And so how many departments did we have in the sales and marketing? Probably like five or six departments at the time. Yeah. So they interviewed all of the admins for all 5 departments, which was kind of interesting. And so like you look around and be like, what department are you interviewing for? Oh, yeah. Like you like don't know how they would place you depending on who you were interviewing with. I also had like some really bad personal issues going on at the time. I like had gotten my wisdom teeth out. Like, I
don't know if that's a personal issue.
Well, I had like personal problems during the interview process. It was really bad, okay? And this is kind of gross, so like don't listen if you're grossed out by like teeth things. But I had like really like severe like dental surgery on these wisdom teeth.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then like I was on like all sorts of like painkillers.
Personal problems.
Personal issues. But like I was like
you were on painkillers?
I was on like Vicodin painkillers.
In the interview?
Yeah. And I was like I was feeling so gross. I don't even know how I got this job, honestly.
Wow.
It was horrible. It was like it
was a different you.
It was just like a really bad time. Like it was stressful to do all the interviews. I was not feeling well at all. Somehow I managed to get through all of them. And I ended up getting an offer from 2 departments at Nintendo. One was the sales team, and one was the team that you and I both ended up on, the communications team. Right. At the time, it was called something else. It was called like
Corporate Affairs.
Corporate Affairs.
Which is very
vague. And I legit remember doing this. I remember like thinking to myself, well, like, I know what sales is.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd like it. Like, I don't think I'd be good at it.
Yeah.
Even though I never tried. I don't actually know what corporate affairs is.
Sure.
So I like did like a Google search, like what is
fair.
Corporate affairs? I mean, I remember meeting all the people that I'd be working with and stuff like that, and I liked all of them, obviously. Yeah. So that part was important and was great. But I honestly do not know what this department did at all. I didn't know that it was like communications based. Yeah. I didn't know that. I don't even know what PR was. I don't think
I'd never heard of corporate affairs before I joined Nintendo. I think even some companies use that to denote like legal
government
or
stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of different.
Our department changed our name pretty soon afterwards because it was a bit confusing to a different name that was more descriptive of the work that our team did. But yeah, I literally did not know what I was getting into at all. I was just like, this sounds better than sales.
Yeah.
You know, that was the only like check mark that I had. And it was really weird too because I was joining when they were building that California office, which is very like perfect that I left when they closed down. I literally did the whole cycle, like the full cycle of the Rapid City office. I was there when it was being built, and I was there when it was being like dismantled, basically. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting. But I would go into the office and there would be nobody there. It would be like empty. The cubicles were still being built. Yeah. You know, I had no idea what I was doing. I was very far away from the corporate office. Yeah. The people that I had interviewed with actually were not even staying at Nintendo. So they were like me and you, like leaving the company and interviewing your replacements and interviewing a team that you probably wouldn't ever work with. Yeah. So it was like a very weird dynamic because people are kind of like checked out a little bit.
That senioritis.
Yeah, I mean, why would you, right? Yeah. So you know, I started it was very rocky in the beginning. There was nobody there. It was like really lonely, and I had no idea like what I was doing at all. It was like smack in the wee days as well, so there was a lot to do.
Busy,
but I just didn't know what I was doing at all, and there was like nobody there to help you. So you just like I would like go onto the intra site, like the employee website, and I just like type in people's names, look them up, what department are they in, who are the people under them, like maybe I can call that person, they can tell me what to do. Okay. So it was like that was like the daily like investigation. But I would say that, you know, if you want to get into the video game industry, like you don't need to be like specifically skilled in one certain area.
Right.
I was not. I think people in these companies can tell that you have a passion for the brand, that you're willing to learn, that you're willing to work, and if you have like even those skill sets, you can look for these entry level type positions, and then it's up to you to grow your career. I was able to do that in a really amazing way at Nintendo, but you don't need like anything special,
right?
I guess is my point. Anyone can do it if you want to.
Yeah, it's just regular people.
Exactly, it's regular people, and the work is really difficult. So don't think that you're going to be playing. I hate it when people say like, "Oh, do you just play games all day?" And I don't want to like slap them because I'm like, you have no idea. The work is very difficult. Working for your dream company can be a double-edged sword because you end up making a lot of excuses for them when things are not going great, which can be very difficult, like emotionally. But if you want to do it, it's really just about like your willingness to jump in and just like try and learn.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. The learning curve is very high, so you have to like survive the learning curve, but I think anybody can get in, really.
I think one other good tip is like know what each, company or branch of that company is set up to do. So like Nintendo of America, not really developing games. Right. Most of that's happening in Japan or at some other kind of, related development studio. This is like a sales and marketing office.
Right.
So if you are focused on one of those things, that's a company for you. But obviously, there's companies that do development. So if you're focused on development, then look at those. So just do a bit of research ahead of what's this place even doing?
Yeah, and then like think to yourself, if you don't know what area of a company you want to focus on or like do, like think about like how your skills are transferable, right?
Yeah.
Because like for me, you can go the more generalist route, and try out different departments. A lot of people at Nintendo started in one department and went to a different department. So like you can like, even if after you get in or as you're looking to get in, you can do that kind of research and just kind of hone in on maybe like 2 or 3 areas of what that company does that's interesting to you, that you think you'll be good at, that you think you have an interest in, and even like have some pathways there as well. You don't have to be like locked into like, I can only do this one thing. Like that's it,
Right.
So I think that's another like good tip if you're just starting out and wanting to like investigate, this path.
I think you sort of exemplify one of these Reggie-isms that he would always tell us about, which is be open to alternative outcomes.
Yes.
Which is like how it's so easy in life to set your heart on one thing and make that your goal and be like, I am single-mindedly going after this.
Yeah.
And I am not even considering any other options.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, his point is like, no, you should really have your mind open to those and you should seriously consider those because those could end up being better than what you had your heart set on in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And think deeply about that, about like what, why you are so focused on a particular thing.
Yeah.
Is it like an outside factor that is causing you to be so tunnel vision, or is it truly something that you want to do?
Yeah.
I think if it's truly like, this is my singular passion, I know this is what I want to do, like, sure, I think have the drive to like really focus and go for it. But if there's like something outside of that's making you only look at one option, like that's where I think that comes in, and that really worked out for me. And even when I got in at Nintendo and started working at my very like entry level assistant job, like I opened my eyes to like all of the different possibilities that were available. I volunteered to do stuff. I met different people. That searching of the Nintendo employee charts is very helpful because you like meet people and you like get to know them. You build relationships. That's how you have success in your career. Building these relationships with like people outside of who you work with daily. Like that was a big part of that too. So I think if you're able to do that, like you could really like grow at a company in a really fun way.
Yeah, we do a lot of jokes and gags on this show. I think your story and your rise at Nintendo is frankly very inspiring.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you started, absolute, entry level assistants, and like I don't know anybody else who had that same path of like, you know,
Really?
moving up as far as you did. And you know, I think there's a lot of people who, you know, being an assistant's kind of a different skill set from a lot of the other jobs that you move up from. So I think it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It took 14 years
sure.
to go from point A to, you know, where I was before I left the company. But along the way, you know, I always felt like I was like learning new stuff. I was given really unique opportunities. Like, I think if that wasn't happening, I probably wouldn't have stayed for such a long time.
Right.
But it can happen. And again, you don't have to be like you don't have to have any special skill sets. I did not have any skill sets. You know, I did not have a degree that really helped me with PR or with communications. I did not have anything that is something that not anybody else would have, I think, you know, except for the drive to like learn and grab opportunities when they came. And so, yeah, I think anybody can do it.